A rough hand clamps over Lin Yi's mouth, yanking him backward with startling force. Before he can cry out, he is dragged deep into the suffocating darkness of a... Instinct takes over. Adrenaline floods his system as he twists his body, throwing a desperate, heavy punch at his captor. The strike is caught mid-air, a firm grip neutralizing his power. Just as Lin Yi prepares to drive his elbow into his attacker's stomach, a familiar, panicked voice cuts through the gloom.
Lower your guard. It's only me.
Lu Linhai's face is a mask of terror in the dim light. He presses Lin Yi further into the shadows, his voice a frantic, barely audible rasp.
Quiet, not another word.
Lin Yi goes still, his heart thudding painfully against his ribs. He gives a stiff nod, the weight of the situation crashing down on him. Splitting from the group to find Dean Mong had been his own decision, a calculated risk. They were supposed to meet elsewhere. This wasn't the rendezvous. Lu Linhai being here meant the plan had failed or something was already hunting them. With Chu Kai's enhanced senses, the group should not have been compromised. The most likely scenario was that a shadow had followed him here. The footsteps grow louder, closer. Then, voices drift in from the street. Casual, cruel voices that make the air feel like ice.
Bunch of absolute failures. How hard is it to find a few stray sheep in this city? It's been hours and they still have nothing.
A woman's voice cuts through the silence, its casual tone more chilling than a scream.
You're telling me? If it were up to me, I'd have had their livers on a plate 10 minutes after the alarm went off.
A man's voice follow, sounding like a knife sliding across bone.
This whole thing is a disaster. It's all anyone's talking about. I heard they're already calculating the rations. I should have just stayed in. I'm telling you, that blaze on Sifang Mountain, that was their work, no doubt about it. Human lives are so pathetic. Aside from the taste, what's the point? They have no value, none at all. Why do we even bother with this charade? Why keep them around, pretending to be one of them, living in this rot? We have to. They are such fragile, cowardly things. If they're under too much stress for too long, the meat spoils. It gets sour. A little panic adds a nice kick to the flavor, but too much terror, it ruins the quality. I remember one that just dropped dead from fear the moment I showed my face. Completely wasted. The meat was like ash. Quiet. That's enough.
A low, heavy voice cuts through their chatter, commanding instant silence.
The chief was very clear. No mention of the livestock outside of the feed. If he catches you two gossiping again, do you really think you'll live to see the next harvest? We were just talking. It doesn't mean anything, please. Walk, now.
3 long, twisted shadows sweep across the alleyway floor as the group passes. They move with an unnatural, predatory grace, their footsteps slowly fading into the urban night. Only when the silence returns is Lin Yi able to release the breath he's been anchoring in his chest. He tries to speak, only to find Lu Linhai's hand still clamped tightly over his face, sweat making the grip slippery. Lin Yi swats the hand away with a sharp movement. Lu Linhai blinks, looking like a man waking from a nightmare, and pulls back.
Why are you here? What's going on?
Chu Kai's orders. He caught a scent, thought someone or something was following you. Uncle Ann was ready to tear the street apart. He wanted to end them right here. But Chu Kai stopped him. He said starting a massacre in the city would give us away. We'd be trapped before we could even start the next phase. So I came to find you. Lucky for us, they weren't tracking you. Just looking for a cheap thrill from the fire.
Disgust roils in Lin Yi's gut. Even their sick curiosity is a parody of human behavior. Lu Linhai peers cautiously out into the street. Satisfied, he turns back, his eyes searching Lin Yi's.
Hey, that chief they mentioned. What do you think he is?
The leader, the alpha, the thing at the top of the food chain.
So, if we take him out, do the others fall? Can we end this nightmare?
Don't be a fool. We don't know where he is. We don't know what he is. If he controls a city of these things, we aren't even a threat to him. We'd be dinner before we even got close. Forget it. Let's go. We need Chu Kai's senses.
They weave through the labyrinth of back streets, moving with practiced stealth until they reach the crumbling structure that serves as their temporary sanctuary.
Is it finished?
Lin Yi offers a single, sharp nod in response.
Some lives are meant to be fleeting. Don't carry the weight of those who are already gone.
Lin Yi describes the exchange they overheard in the alleyway, and Chengdao listens with a face of stone, eventually nodding as the report finishes.
If there is a head to this beast, then someone will have to cut it off. Eventually. But Lin Yi's judgment is sound. We aren't ready. You three carry the future of our species. We must wait, recruit, and sharpen our blades until the time is right.
Let's table that for now. There is a more pressing mystery. Something that simply does not fit the evidence. I want to talk about your ability. My ability? What about it? Uncle An can manipulate the metal he's marked, though distance and mass take their toll. And my senses have been sharpened to an inhuman degree. We know our limits. We know how we work. But your gift, what is it really?
Is it not obvious? He dies, the clock resets, end of story.
If that were true, how do you explain what happened at Sifang Mountain? I've seen it happen twice now. The first time was back at the apartment. His master, that horror in his mother's skin, had him cornered. I was tracking every micro-movement. I saw that thing lunge. There was no escape, no space to move, no time to react. But in the blink of an eye, he was gone, reappearing yards away while the monster clawed at empty air. If it had been a simple dodge, my enhanced vision would have tracked the blur. I would have seen his path. But there was nothing. No path, no movement, just absence. And then it happened again, just moments ago, with Chu Yun. The monster's strike was home, a lethal blow, and yet the same impossibility occurred. Only this time, it was even more jarring. Lin Yi didn't just retreat, he vanished and reappeared directly in the creature's guard, already mid-strike. There was no transition, no acceleration. My eyes, which can track a bullet, saw absolutely nothing.
Lin Yi listens, the memories of those moments surfacing with terrifying clarity. He remembers that strange sense of being untethered from the world. He hadn't known how to name it. He just assumed it was part of the reset, a glitch in the experience of death. But now, hearing Chu Kai's clinical breakdown, a reckless, dangerous theory begins to take root in his mind.
My gift. I think it might be something else entirely.
Wait, time control?
The air in the stone hideout seemed to thicken as everyone froze, processing Lin Yi's revelation. Lin Yi's sudden, booming shout echoed off the jagged walls, startling the group. Chu Kai's eyes flared with anger as he lunged forward, his voice a lethal whisper.
Shut it. Do you want to bring every freak in the mountains down on our heads?
Sorry. I just got caught up in the moment. I didn't think.
Ignoring the apology, Chu Kai leaned in toward Lin Yi, his gaze searching.
Lin Yi, walk us through this. What exactly happened that makes you think you can control time?
Lin Yi detailed the two incidents at Sifang Mountain where time had simply stopped. As he spoke, and Chengdao and Chu Kai listened with grim intensity, their expressions hardening with every detail. But Lin Yi was vibrating with a different energy. It was as if he were the one who had just inherited a godlike power. He brought a heavy hand down on Lin Yi's shoulder, a wild grin splitting his face.
Man, you're a freaking legend. Time manipulation? We're basically gods now. If you can just freeze everything, why the hell are we still running? We just stop the clock and carve our way through. One blade, one freak, it'll be a slaughter. And they won't even see it coming. Monsters, chiefs. They're just target practice with a power like yours. Let's show them.
Slaughterfest? Use your head, Lin Yi. This isn't a video game.
Chu Kai's voice was like ice, instantly cooling Lu Linhai's reckless enthusiasm.
Didn't you hear Lin Yi? Every time that power activates, his body goes into shock. That's not a win button, it's a bill coming due.
He leaned in closer to Lin Yi, his expression grimmer than ever.
Lin Yi, you need to understand something. These abilities, they have limits. You push past them, and you're looking at irreversible damage. To your organs, to your mind, to everything.
The boy is right.
And Cheng Dao interjected, his voice gravelly and low.
My control over metal isn't magic. It's fueled by my own physical stamina. The heavier the object, the more it drains me. If I overreach, my heart starts failing, keep going, and it just stops. Simple as that.
For me, it's my brain. Focusing my senses like this is like redlining an engine. It burns through you. Prolonged use causes internal bleeding, blindness, deafness. I have to cycle my senses just to stay sane. If I didn't, I'd be a vegetable by now.
And Cheng Dao nodded slowly, his eyes fixed on Lin Yi's pale face.
The more godlike the power, the more it takes from the vessel, that pain you're feeling. That's the ability feeding on your life force.
The color drained from Lu Linhai's cheeks. The legendary power didn't seem so cool anymore.
God, when you put it that way, it's horrific. Lin Yi's literally trading his life for every extra second. To die over and over, and then wake up with those memories still screaming under your skull. I think I'd have lost my mind weeks ago.
Lin Yi didn't need to be told. The warnings of his companions echoed the silent, persistent ache that had settled deep within his own marrow. He remembered the sheer, soul-crushing weight of his first realization, the moment he knew his parents were monsters and his life was a farm. The isolation had nearly driven him to the edge of the abyss. And the deaths. The cold bite of steel, the fading light, the final panicked breath. He could still feel them all, a catalog of agony etched into his very soul. If he hadn't encountered Chu Kai, another human soul adrift in this sea of monsters, he would have surely surrendered to the madness long ago. But as he listened to Lu Linhai's reckless talk of slaughter, he knew he had to clarify the nature of his burden. He looked up, his gaze steadying on Lu Linhai.
It's not just death that triggers the loop, Lin Yi. It's more than that. Remember the meat shop? When I finally got my hands on the key, I was alive, I was whole, and yet time still folded back on itself.
He remembered the absolute, burning desperation to save Cheng Dao from the gathering freaks. That raw, primal will, it had forced the universe to reset through sheer conviction. That was the first time he'd thought of it as control. True, conscious manipulation of time itself. But that hope was a fleeting ghost. In the 2 weeks of brutal training since then, he hadn't been able to replicate it, not once. He looked at the group with a wide, triumphant grin, his eyes shining with misplaced confidence.
That's it then. We're set. We've basically got a god on our side now.
Set. What the hell are you babbling about now?
Think about it. This proves Lin Yi's power is time control. If he's with us, the freaks don't stand a chance. We're untouchable.
Chu Kai's eyes narrowed into dangerous slits, his patience finally snapping.
Untouchable? You're an absolute moron. Even if he's right, even if it is time control, the boy can't use it on command. It's like having a weapon that only fires when it feels like it. What's your plan? Are we supposed to burn incense and pray for a miracle every time a freak shows its teeth?
His voice dropped an octave, becoming heavy with an uncompromising authority.
Until Lin Yi can trigger that power as easily as he breathes, it doesn't exist for us. We don't plan for it, We don't rely on it. Not in a fight, and certainly not for escaping this mountain.
He looked at Lin Yi, his gaze softening with a flicker of genuine dread. He knew all too well that if Lin Yi tried to force the power and failed, the only thing they'd be left with was another corpse.
Half a month ago, he only survived that counterattack because he blacked out. His body simply couldn't take it. He's stronger now, but he's still redlining. If he collapses at the wrong second, he's gone. No more loops, no more second chances. Just death.
Chu Kai shot another withering glare at Lu Linhai, who had finally gone quiet.
So stop talking about slaughterfests. Lin Yi would collapse before you even draw your blade. If you're so damn eager to see him dead, why wait for the monsters? Just give him a stab yourself and get it over with.
Lu Linhai winced at the morbid joke, sticking his tongue out and offering Lin Yi a sheepish, apologetic smile.
All right, I get it. Chu Kai's right, I'm getting carried away.
And don't forget,
And Cheng Dao added, his voice steady and low.
when he stops time, he's the only one moving. He'd have to clear an entire city alone. That's not a strategy. It's a death sentence. Enough. We can't build a plan around a power we don't control. Not yet.
And Cheng Dao's voice was like a hammer, forging their scattered thoughts back into the cold irony of their survival.
If we survive this mountain, we'll spend every waking hour figuring out how you tick. We'll push your training until your physical constitution is strong enough to carry that burden without snapping.
He looked out into the darkness, his silhouette a jagged shadow against the wet stone.
But for right now, the only thing that matters is the next step.
So what is it? What's the move?
Chu Kai stood up, his eyes scanning the lower slopes where the distant flickering lights of human habitation mocked their isolation.
We need a phone. A smartphone, preferably. One that doesn't belong to any of us. We've been in these mountains too long. We're blind. To find the high-quality humans, the prize stock the monsters are looking for, we need to see the news. Specifically, we need to know who the top scholar of the national exam is. They'll be the center of the slaughter. If we find them, we find our path out.
As the older men plotted their mission, Chu Yun drifted silently toward Lin Yi. She was like a shadow, often forgotten in the heat of their debates. She reached out and gently tugged on his sleeve, her touch as light as a falling leaf.
Brother Lin Yi, I have a question about what you felt. The choking.
She looked up at him with large, intelligent eyes that seemed to hold a wisdom far beyond her years.
Could the reason you can't breathe be because the air itself is frozen? If time stops for everything, then the oxygen molecules wouldn't be able to move into your lungs, right?
Lin Yi stared at her, the sheer, terrifying logic of her words hitting him like a physical blow. The world didn't just stop, it became a solid, impenetrable void.
The air. It's not just a pause. It's an absolute cessation of everything. I'm drowning in a world that can't move.
The weight in Lin Yi's chest seemed to lift as he processed Chu Yun's suggestion. A spark of genuine hope ignited in his eyes, cutting through the gloom of their hideout. It wasn't that the entire world had turned solid. No, the truth was far more subtle. It was the flow of the air itself that had ground to a halt. He thought back to those frantic seconds when time had seized. His heart had hammered against his ribs, his lungs drawing in desperate, shallow gulps of air as panic took hold. In the still air, he had quickly drained the small pocket of oxygen directly in front of his face. With the airflow frozen, nothing could rush in to replace what he'd consumed. It was a horrific sensation, drowning on dry land while standing perfectly still. The world was static, and it was literally suffocating him. But everything changed the moment he moved. By stepping forward, he could physically reach new pockets of air, bypassing the frozen currents through sheer action. Lin Yi's jaw set. This theory needed testing. If he could master the mechanics of this temporal stasis, those monsters wouldn't stand a chance against him. While Lin Yi was preoccupied with his theories, Chu Kai had already identified their next target. His focus was absolute, his senses zeroing in on a nearby apartment door with predatory intent. Drawing on years of clandestine experience and his own superhuman hearing, Chu Kai made short work of the lock. The mechanism gave way with a silent, practiced ease. He glided through the threshold like a ghost, his vision and touch enhanced to perceive every obstacle in the dim hall. He was a shadow moving through a world of unsuspecting humans. Chu Kai reappeared from the shadows, successful in his mission. But he hadn't just returned with the hardware they needed. He brandished a smartphone, bypassed with the owner's own fingerprint, and a chilled box of salted plums. Without a word, he tucked the treat into Chu Yun's waiting hands. Watching the sequence of effortless, habitual theft left Lin Yi feeling like he should be dialing the authorities. The ease with which Chu Kai operated was deeply unsettling. Stealing a phone for the cause was one thing, but raiding a stranger's fridge for snacks, and only for his sister, it was classic sister complex behavior.
All right, I've got him. The search is over.
Hold on a second. Are you seeing this? 749 points? Is this guy even human?
The screen displayed the face of Zhang Cheng. The stats were impossible. A near-perfect sweep across every academic discipline. Only a single point separated him from a perfect score. The reason for that missing point was as legendary as the score itself. Zhang Cheng had ruined his perfect essay by tacking on a completely unrelated, eccentric line at the very end.
Wait, what did he actually write to lose a point on a perfect paper?
It says right here, orcs will never be slaves. Straight out of a video game.
I see. So our grand scholar is just an incurable chunibu.
It goes deeper. He was already guaranteed a spot at the top university. Full ride, he turned it down just so he could take the exam with everyone else. He apparently told them that if they didn't let him take the test, he'd kill himself right there. The guy's definitely wired differently.
Eccentric or not, he fits the profile. If he's still human, he's exactly the kind of premium stock those freaks would be hunting. We need to reach him first.
His address isn't exactly around the corner. It's on the other side of the city.
That's fine. We aren't walking. We're driving.
Driving? How? We don't have a car, Chu Kai.
Chu Kai didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his pocket and produced a set of car keys, letting them dangle with a triumphant jingle.
Of course! Why am I even surprised at this point?
A stolen car was a liability in the city streets, especially with Chengdao being a wanted man. He couldn't risk being seen in broad daylight. The burden of the mission fell to the four of them. They would be the ones to venture into the heart of the city to secure their targets. 3 agonizing days had slipped by. The operation had been meticulously planned, yet their target remained invisible, a ghost behind the high walls of the complex. By the 4th morning, the silence had become unbearable. For Lu Linhai, the waiting was a slow burn torture that finally reached its breaking point.
4 days, Lin Yi. 4 damn days! How is it possible for anyone to stay inside that long without even coming out for air? Are we sure he's even a student? I've never seen anyone this dedicated to staying indoors. The biggest exam of his life is finally over. Shouldn't he be out hitting the town? Celebrating? Literally anything besides rotting in his bedroom. It's been weeks since the finals, and the guy still won't stick his head out the door. It makes no sense.
Lin Yi considered the possibilities. A Chunibu personality coupled with a total refusal to leave the house. They were dealing with a genuine shut-in. The gated community was a fortress of glass and steel. Surveillance cameras tracked every shadow. Infiltrating it without being flagged by the freaks was nearly impossible. If Zhang Cheng refused to emerge into the open, their plan was dead in the water. They had no way to initiate contact on their terms.
If he doesn't show by tonight, we'll have to consider other options. We can't waste any more time here.
The sun began its slow descent, dragging the shadows across their hiding spot. Another day had passed, and the gate remained stubbornly closed. The The shroud of night finally descended upon the city. Exhausted and frustrated, the group began to gather their gear, ready to abandon their post for the evening. Suddenly, Chu Kai froze. His head snapped up, eyes narrowing as he stared into the darkness above the gated complex.
Wait, something's coming.
Is it one of them? A freak?
Chu Kai listened, his ears twitching as he filtered the ambient noise.
No, that sound, it's a drone.
A drone out here?
Lin Yi followed his gaze, spotting a small buzzing shape descending from the sky. It wasn't a sleek consumer model. It looked like a crude, kit-bashed machine built from scavenged parts. The machine hovered for a moment before landing softly in the dirt right in front of them. Lu Lin Hai reached out, his hands trembling slightly as he picked the strange device off the ground. A sharp burst of static crackles from a small, integrated speaker on the drone's chassis.
If you're going to touch it, at least hold it properly. Don't flip it around like that, you bumpkin. Tell me, have you never seen technology before?
Lu Lin Hai jumped, nearly fumbling the drone as the voice boomed from the tiny machine.
The damn thing talks?
Lin Yi leaned in, his eyes catching the glint of a tiny camera lens mounted on the top of the chassis. They were being watched.
You've been squatting out here for 4 days now? What exactly are you trying to accomplish?
A cold dread settled over the group. They had spent those 4 days certain that they were hidden, that their position was invisible to the monsters in the complex. Chu Kai's senses were supposed to protect them, yet somehow, this person had been observing them the entire time.
Who are you? Identifying yourself would be a good start.
I'm your father. How's that for a start?
Lin Yi's teeth ground together. The person behind the drone was undeniably arrogant, and he had half a mind to crush the machine under his boot.
You've got some nerve. Don't you realize the police are crawling all over the city looking for you? Instead of crawling into a hole, you're standing out in the open like sitting ducks. Do you have a death wish, or are you just that stupid?
Identify yourself. How do you know our faces?
Lin Yi held up a hand to quiet Chu Kai. This person knew who they were and where they were, yet they hadn't alerted the monsters. It was a good sign. A theory formed in his mind. If this person wasn't a supernatural being, they must be watching from somewhere nearby, somewhere with a direct line of sight. Lin Yi leaned in close, whispering a few strategic words into Chu Kai's ear. The hunt was far from over. Lin Yi gave a silent signal, and Chu Kai responded with a subtle inclination of his head. Chu Kai's gaze drifted upward, methodically surveying the sprawling residential complex that loomed before them. While the two were preoccupied, Lu Lin Hai was engaged in a heated dispute with the small drone clutched in his trembling hands. His frustration was palpable. His complexion flushed a deep, indignant crimson as he struggled to find a witty retort.
Oh, look at that! Why is the great ape's face so red all of a sudden? I've seen plenty of monkeys with red butts, but this is the first time I've seen a gorilla with a red face. Ha ha ha!
Show yourself, you coward! Stop hiding behind a lens and face me!
Beside him, Chu Yun reached out, tugging at the edge of Lu Lin Hai's sleeve in a desperate attempt to get him to lower his volume. But the boy was far too consumed by his own rage to even register his friend's concerned gesture.
If you actually consider yourself a man, then come out here and settle this face to face. Or are you too terrified to even try?
Mistaken your logic there, buddy. How can you call yourself a man when it's so clear you're just a male silverback?
Lu Lin Hai stood there, momentarily speechless. For every insult he managed to hurl, the mechanical voice had a dozen sharper ones ready to fire back. Lin Yi cast a fleeting look toward Lu Lin Hai, then spun around to hurry Chu Kai along.
Well, has your search yielded anything yet?
Not quite.
Chu Kai answered without taking his eyes off the buildings. He was hyper-concentrated, his vision panning across the apartment rows with robotic precision.
Quit rushing me. If your theory holds water, and he's within my sensory limits, I'll sniff him out.
few more seconds ticked by, and then Chukai's posture stiffened as if he'd hit a target. He paused, his eyes narrowing to slits as he focused on a specific point in the distance. A faint, knowing smirk played across Chukai's lips as he chuckled softly.
Bingo.
Turning back toward Lin Yi, Chukai's grin widened.
You know the old saying, after 1,000 searches in the dark, you finally find them right under your nose.
Chukai's cryptic comment took Lin Yi by surprise, prompting a small look of confusion. But when Chukai gave a firm, confident nod, Lin Yi couldn't help but let a similar smile touch his own face. He pivoted on his heel, approaching Lu Linhai and snatching the robotic drone away from his grasp.
Exactly, Lin Yi. Tell this jerk off for me.
Lu Linhai, under the impression that Lin Yi was stepping in to back him up, spoke with a surge of vengeful energy.
Lay into him. Make him regret opening his mechanical mouth.
It's a pleasure to finally connect with you, student Zhang Cheng, this year's top scholar of the college entrance exam.
Lin Yi's unexpected greeting left Lu Linhai reeling with confusion and anxiety.
What the hell are you doing? I wanted you to trash talk him, not start a friendly conversation. Is this some kind of politeness before the punch strategy? Wait, hang on.
Suddenly, a realization struck him, and his expression shifted to one of pure bewilderment.
What exactly did you just call him? Zhang Cheng? You don't mean the guy from...
Before the sentence could leave Lu Linhai's lips, Chu Kai reached out and physically hauled him backward.
Keep your mouth shut.
Chu Kai shot a warning glare at Lu Linhai before taking his place right next to Lin Yi. A heavy silence hung in the air from the drone's end for a long moment before a dismissive, haughty voice finally broke it.
Who the heck is Zhang Cheng? Never heard of him. Could be Zhang Li or Wang II for all I care. You guys definitely have the wrong person.
Oh, really?
Chu Kai leaned closer to the drone's camera, matching the other person's mocking energy.
If you're not Zhang Cheng, then who's the guy I'm looking at right now, standing by the window with a remote in his hand?
Another stretch of absolute silence followed the reveal. Without giving the strategist a chance to recover, Chu Kai pressed his advantage.
And by the way, that set of binoculars you have there? Quite a high-end piece of equipment. Certainly wasn't cheap. I never would have guessed a prestigious top scholar would harbor such a peculiar, voyeuristic little hobby. So tell me, are those actually proper binoculars or something more specialized?
How is it possible that you can see me?
The playful tone had vanished, replaced by a voice that was suddenly sharp and dead serious.
Logically, no matter how eagle-eyed you are, you shouldn't be able to spot me from that distance.
Even without a formal admission of guilt, his questions were proof enough. This was the Zhang Cheng they had been searching for. He'd clearly been tracking their movements through those expensive optics, perhaps out of boredom or a twisted sense of curiosity. He likely assumed he was untouchable behind his glass, treating their struggle like a low-budget prank show. But the tables had turned. Not only had he been spotted, but every detail of his setup, right down to the remote in his hands, was now exposed.
Would you be open to a face-to-face discussion?
Absolutely not.
Suit yourself.
Lin Yi gave a cold snort of indifference and simply dropped the drone onto the paved ground.
Huh?
The unexpected dismissal clearly caught Zhang Cheng off balance. He hadn't anticipated such a blunt end to the conversation.
We're done here.
Lin Yi signaled his team with a sharp look, indicating they were ready to move on. Following his lead, the group turned in unison, preparing to leave the complex behind.
Wait, stop.
Zhang Cheng's voice surged with a sudden, desperate urgency as he realized they were actually walking away.
You haven't even answered me yet.
Under his frantic control, the drone buzzed back into the air, hovering like a mechanical gnat right in front of Lin Yi.
Seriously, how the hell did you spot me? And what about the news? It said you guys were snatched by some serial killer. Where is he? Why are you still breathing? How did you manage to get away? What's the secret?
Zhang Cheng had transformed into a relentless chatterbox, his questions spilling out in a rapid-fire stream.
I've told you already, if you want the truth, we talk face to face.
Lin Yi made no move to satisfy the other boy's curiosity. His resolve remained unshaken. He was acutely aware that trying to explain the reality of freaks to anyone was a monumental challenge. It was an even steeper uphill battle to convince someone that their own family was nothing more than skin-wearing monsters. Such a revelation required careful handling and time. If Zhang Cheng remained this resistant and guarded, there was no point in pushing further. They had other priorities. Wasting their limited time on one stubborn individual was a luxury they didn't have. After all, the city was filled with candidates who met the criteria of a high-quality human.
Can't we just stick to this? Why the need for a formal meeting?
Not happening.
Lin Yi shook his head firmly, his eyes fixed on the drone's lens.
But I will swear this much on my own life. We have no intention of causing you any harm.
And why should I believe that? You don't think I'll just call the cops right now and let them handle you?
Be my guest.
Lin Yi responded with a cold, almost mocking shrug. A long, heavy silence stretched between them before a deep, weary sigh came crackling through the drone's speaker.
Look, it's not that I'm refusing to see you, it's that I literally can't.
Ugh, give me a break.
Lu Linhai sneered, his patience finally snapping.
What, did your legs fall off or something? Did you forget how to function as a human being? If you don't want to come out, just man up and say it, instead of making up pathetic excuses.
This is a conversation for actual humans. Maybe the unevolved great ape should sit this one out and let the adults talk.
Zhang Cheng's retort was sharp enough to make Lu Linhai grit his teeth in a silent, murderous fury.
Why exactly are you stuck inside?
Lin Yi asked, his curiosity genuinely piqued by the boy's wording.
Because those two things inside my house won't let me leave.
Zhang Cheng's tone was casual, almost flippant, but underneath it, Lin Yi could hear a profound sense of helplessness. Still, his choice of words struck a discordant chord in Lin Yi's mind.
Wait, what did you just say?
Lin Yi pushed further, testing the waters of this strange confession.
How do you refer to your parents?
They aren't my parents.
There was a sudden, sharp edge of anger in Zhang Cheng's voice as he corrected him. The confession caught Lin Yi completely off guard, his mind racing to process the implications. He considered the possibility for a moment before probing again.
Wait, are you telling me you were adopted?
You could put it that way, I guess. But honestly, never mind. Even if I told you the truth, there's no way you'd believe it.
Lin Yi's brow furrowed as he processed the cryptic answer. He exchanged a meaningful look with Chu Kai, seeing the identical look of realization on his friend's face. He knew they were on the same page.
How long has it been since you found out?
Found out what? The date of my adoption?
Not that.
Lin Yi shook his head, his voice dropping to a low, intense frequency.
When did you find out that they weren't human?
For the first time, Zhang Cheng was left completely, utterly speechless. A long minute passed in absolute silence before he finally spoke, his voice wavering with a sudden, intense agitation.
Do you even have the slightest idea what you're saying right now?
Lin Yi felt a sudden, sharp jolt in his chest. A cold sweat began to prickle along his spine. Had his intuition failed him? Could it be that Zhang Cheng was truly unaware of the monstrous reality they lived in? He narrowed his eyes, studying the drone's mechanical eye. A thick silence hung in the humid workshop air.
Stop playing games, you know exactly what's happening in this city.
I really don't.
The voice from the speaker crackled, devoid of emotion.
Your words make zero sense to me. If that's all the nonsense you have to offer, I'm cutting the connection.
The small craft tilted, its rotors whining as it hovered. It began to drift upward, yet it moved with a deliberate, agonizing slowness.
You're lying. You're just testing us, waiting to see if we're a threat.
Watching the drone linger in the air like a hesitant insect, Lin Yi's confidence returned. He had seen the crack in the facade.
An ordinary student wouldn't have signed off their final exam with a declaration of war. Orcs will never be slaves. That wasn't just a quote, was it?
It was a desperate, subtle protest. A cry for freedom hidden in plain sight, because the truth was too dangerous to speak aloud. The drone's ascent ceased instantly. It hung dead in the air, its camera lens fixed on Lin Yi.
If you were truly oblivious, you would have called the authorities or fled in terror. Instead, you sought us out. You followed the scent of someone else who knows.
A long, crackling pause stretched between them. Then, Zhang Cheng's voice returned, now filtered through a layer of cynical amusement.
I have to admit, you're more perceptive than I gave you credit for. At the very least, you're far more entertaining than that overgrown ape standing beside you.
Lu Jinhai's face turned a deep shade of crimson. He lunged toward the drone, his fists clenched tight.
Who are you calling an ape? My family has better genetics than your entire bloodline, you mechanical rat.
Lin Yi felt the tension drain from his shoulders. The wall had finally come down. Recruiting an ally who understood the stakes was invaluable. This wasn't just another victim, it was a survivor.
But let's be honest, you didn't just stumble upon me. You were hunting for something, weren't you?
The drone lowered its altitude, hovering at eye level. The red light of its sensor pulsed like a tiny, mechanical heartbeat.
Your friend there gave the game away, and your persistence confirms it. You need something from me.
We did. We need your help, Zhang Cheng. But first, tell me, how did someone like you find out about the monsters?
Everyone had their own path to this nightmare. A farmer's runaway livestock, a sudden psychic awakening, or in Lin Yi's case, endless cycles of agonizing death. Others had simply been dragged into the light by those they loved, only to find the shadows were real. He leaned in, waiting for the story. Every survivor had a secret, and Zhang Cheng's looked like it ran deep.
Freaks? Is that the best name you could come up with for those skin crawlers? Well, it's as good a label as any, I suppose. I've never looked one in its true hideous face, but I've witnessed the aftermath of their hunger.
Lin Yi's mind immediately went to the slaughterhouse. He bit his lip, bracing for a tale of gore. Zhang Cheng's voice dropped an octave, turning cold and clinical as he began to unveil a secret buried beneath the city's largest hospital. He leaned back, his eyes unfocused as if peering through the fog of memory. It was years ago, back when he was still a fresh-faced middle school student. An unlucky accident had landed him in a hospital bed. That was where he first saw her, a girl slightly older than him, with a grace that seemed out of place in such a sterile environment. It was that fragile age where the heart beats faster for the simplest reasons. For Zhang Cheng, it was love at first sight, a sudden and total fascination. He didn't have a name for the feeling yet. All he knew was that every morning he woke up with one goal: to find a way to cross paths with her. The illusion of youth shattered the day he saw her again, her long, beautiful hair gone. The truth was as cold as the hospital tiles. She was fighting a battle against terminal illness. But he didn't run away. He spent his days by her side, desperately trying to conjure a smile from her pale lips. He became her shadow, her cheerleader, until the day the world shifted. One morning, her bed was stripped bare. The IV stand was gone, and the small collection of books he'd brought her had vanished. He'd cornered a passing nurse, his voice frantic. She had given him a practiced, empty smile and told him the girl had simply gone home. A cold knot of suspicion tightened in his gut. They had just started the most aggressive treatment. No doctor would let a patient walk out under those conditions. And beyond the medical logic, there was the girl herself. She wouldn't have left him with nothing but an empty room and a lingering scent of antiseptic. desperation drove him to risk everything. He waited for a shift change and slipped into the hospital's security hub, his fingers trembling as he navigated the archives. He'd found the date and time, but when he hit play, there was only static. Every second of the girl's disappearance had been systematically erased.
Wait,
Lu Jinhai interrupted, his brow furrowed in confusion.
if the servers were wiped, how did you ever get your proof?
Zhang Cheng didn't even turn to look at him. His response was as swift and cutting as a razor.
I thought I told you to keep quiet, Ape. One more stupid question, and I'll have you tranquilized for the local zoo.
Lu Jinhai's jaw tightened, a low growl forming in his throat, but he managed to contain his fury.
The hospital surveillance was deleted, but the cameras outside the hospital were still there. They forgot that the rest of the world has eyes, too.
A small neon-lit convenience store sat perched right across from the hospital gates. Its security camera, a silent sentinel, pointed directly at the main entrance. Zhang Cheng had used his youth as a weapon. He'd walked into the store with a tearful face, spinning a lie about a lost family heirloom and begging to see the tapes. The store was a separate entity, unregulated by the hospital's cover-up protocols. Its digital memory remained intact, untainted by whatever shadow had wiped the medical servers. He knew the girl's father's vehicle by sight. Every scratch and dent was etched into his memory from the times he'd watched her arrive. He'd spent hours scouring the grainy time-stamped footage. The father's car was a ghost. It never once pulled into the hospital's driveway. The realization hit him like a physical blow. The official story was a lie. She had never left that building alive. The nurse's empty smile now felt sinister. The hospital wasn't a place of healing anymore. It was a fortress of deception. His young mind couldn't conceive of supernatural horrors yet. He'd settled on a more human evil, illegal organ harvesting, a black market flourishing in the shadows of the surgery suites. A cold rage had settled over him. He was no longer just a grieving boy. He was an investigator determined to bring the hospital's dark truth into the light. He started prowling the halls, tracking schedules, and digging through discarded documents, a ghost haunting the hospital's own corridors. But the evidence was always just out of reach. The hospital was a labyrinth of locked doors and redacted files. Every lead had gone cold, leaving only one dark corner of the facility he'd been too terrified to enter until now. The morgue was the hospital's final room, a place of icy silence and heavy metal drawers. It was here that Zhang Cheng's journey would reach its most terrifying depth. Fear gnawed at his insides, his heart hammering against his ribs in the oppressive silence. But the memory of the girl's stolen smile gave him the strength to push the heavy door open. He'd mapped every blind spot and learned the security patterns. He slipped inside like a shadow, and in the freezing gloom of the body storage area, he finally saw it, a lead he hadn't expected. Behind a nondescript panel in the morgue's back wall, a concealed hatch lay waiting. He pried it open, revealing a stairwell that plunged into the dark heart of the facility.
The things I saw down there, they defy logic.
Zhang Cheng's voice cracked, the cynicism stripped away to reveal an old, raw fear. He gasped for air, his chest heaving as the memory consumed him. His words were thick with a fury that had been simmering for years.
The air was a thick, hot soup of copper and decay. Industrial machines, titans of rusted iron, screamed as they turned. And right in the middle, there was a void, a pit that seemed to swallow the light. The pit.
Lin Yi whispered, his mind racing to a conclusion he desperately hoped was wrong.
It was filled with them, people. Hundreds of them stacked like cordwood.
Zhang Cheng choked out, his eyes wide and vacant.
Actually, people is the wrong word. They were just raw materials. The machines were grinders. They took those bodies and reduced them to a mountain of twitching, gray slurry, a heap of meat processed and forgotten.
A heavy, suffocating silence fell over the workshop. The horror of the revelation hung in the air, a physical weight that made it hard to breathe.
I thought they were man-eaters.
Lu Jinhai growled, the horror reflected in his wide eyes.
Why would they go to all that trouble just to grind them up?
Lin Yi's eyes were distant, his mind weaving together a chilling logic. He spoke with a deliberation that suggested he'd been fearing this answer.
The goal isn't just disposal, it's resource management. They're using the waste to keep the lights on.
Electricity?
Lu Jinhai's voice rose in disbelief.
You mean they're fueling the city with that?
Lin Yi gave a slow, somber nod. It was a theory born from the city's cold efficiency.
The monsters are picky eaters. A sick body is tainted meat to them. They have no use for it as a meal, and they certainly don't care about healing the suffering. So, the unwanted become the fuel. Every life that isn't worth consuming is converted into a different kind of value. Rotting organic matter produces methane. It's a simple chemical process. They've built an entire energy grid on the back of the city's dead. At least that's the most logical explanation for what Zhang Cheng saw.
He stopped, the weight of his own words pressing down on him. A secondary, darker thought had begun to take root. His expression twisted into one of pure disgust. The air in the room seemed to turn sour as he prepared to voice a final, even more repulsive possibility.
But methane isn't the only thing you can do with a mountain of processed meat. What if they aren't just powering the city? What if they're feeding it, recycling the unfit back into the food chain for the rest of us?